the dial, turn it loud. Miami's pride, make us proud. CanesWear crew, you hear the crowd. Hurricanes ain't backing down. Every play, every score, raising bets and raising roar. Rocking orange, green galore. All for one and one for four. We got FTSN, taking names, win it again. Podcast fam, till the end. Tune in, now let's begin.
Hello and welcome to the CanesWear podcast. I look like I'm a little off today. The CanesWear podcast on April 16th, Wednesday. A lot going on. We're on the FTSN network. I want to thank Bobby for putting this all together. Please like and subscribe to the FTSN network. And I'm joined today by the incomparable great Gio and the fantastic Mondo. And we're here today. A lot going on, obviously. The NIL, the transfer portal is open. Mondo told me he would enter it again, but he already lost his eligibility in school. And so we got football. We got football on the portal. We've got basketball recruits going on in the portal. We got so much going on. We got the draft next week. We've got a loaded show today. And I'm excited. I am excited of everything that's going on for the Canes, and it's a great time to be a Canes fan. How are we doing today, guys?
Doing
good,
on,
guys.
Never better. Transfer portal in full effect today. It is officially open. It is talent acquisition season.
Talent acquisition season. I like the way that sounds, Mondo.
Yeah, a few surprises entered the last couple of days, so a lot to talk about. Absolutely.
Exactly. So we've got, we're losing some players, which is interesting. We knew we were going to lose some players, even without Mario having the spring game, which we can talk about the spring game a little too, obviously. We're losing some players, we're getting some players. It's an exciting time. I'd rather you got a player and you had him for 3 years and 4 years, but we've got to play with the hand we're dealt with. Remember, ask your questions away, your comments. We'll try to get to them. I see Blue is here. Thank you very much for joining, Blue. Are we going to get Pena? Is the first question off the bat, Gio?
Still too early. Quite a few programs involved there. Miami involved, Oregon, Texas Tech, and even recently I've heard that Texas has some interest there as well in Trevor Pena from Syracuse. Had about 84 catches last year, about over 900 yards, career season for him. Some injury history there as well. Last year was his breakout season. So obviously some concern when you're dealing with a guy that's had multiple injuries, but would be a nice fit for the slot. But there's still some things in play there. And what I mean by things in play is that Miami still highly values how much Malachi Tony has come on throughout the spring. Ray Joseph had a pretty solid spring himself, so there's healthy competition between those two guys. So it's not a dead ringer yet that Miami's going to take Trevor Pena or even land him. I've heard that he's commanding a lot in terms of compensation, and also Miami's biggest priority in terms of trying to address that receiver room. It is a vertical threat on the outside with some size. So that's what they want. There hasn't been anyone who's entered yet. I've heard some chatter of other names, but that's where it stands.
You were mentioning today on X that some guys are getting into the portal now. It's really surprising. I know Mondo's been talking about how this is the Wild West. It's crazy, texting all the time. This is crazy, man. Who would think it? You got stars getting into the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just is a fan's perspective. It's just exciting to see. I mean, you don't want to lose players, but at the same time, teams are losing players left and right.
Yeah, I just saw before the show, former Cane and I guess now former SMU, Jalen Knighton, now went to the portal. Saw that a little while ago.
Jalen was a good kid, is a good kid. I mean, his family would shop at CanesWear, and Jalen spoke to him several times, had the Rooster shirts, and great kid. I hope he gets an opportunity. I mean, the first year, he had a monster year. What do you have, like 12, 13 touchdowns for us?
Yeah, it was about 10 touchdowns. That was his sophomore year. He had about 10 touchdowns. I think like 500, 600 yards rushing, but a whole bunch receiving as well. I think he had like
Correct. 2-3. Yeah. So that was Mario's first year, or was that Manny's last year?
That was Manny Diaz's last year.
Yeah, so that was the year. So it's a couple of tough breaks, but it was too bad to see him go. I do like him a lot, the Rooster. Hopefully he lands on his feet somewhere. Let's see, Jacoby Grags. By the way, Jacoby, we're just sending your gift card out. Noticed it bounced back the first time, so if you didn't get it, let us know. Real ball followers, absolutely. Who wants to smoke? Gio and I'm on. Make sure you join that show. Hello, everyone. Jason Sanchez, what's good, fellas? It's been a minute. Definitely has. And Juan Emmanuel, tell us something good from the portal. Can you read that, Gio? And Juan Emmanuel, I think you have a gift card coming too, so make sure you send us your email. Send it to either Gio, Mondo, or myself, Canes_wear, so we can get that taken care of. Juan Manuel's got a couple of questions there.
Yeah, so Juan Manuel asks here, he says, Gio, tell us something good from the portal. Nikar and Zaquan Patterson led me to seek liquor. And
Hey, you sure that wasn't Brett asking that question?
Exactly. It doesn't take much. The technical difficulties today starting late, it's cost me to just ring up the whole drink. Tell us some good news, Gio. So Juan Emmanuel, myself, and Mondo can finish the show in one piece.
So a couple things. Juan Manuel, also you have a gift card waiting for you, my friend, from CanesWear. You were picked as one of the winners a couple of weeks back. So if you can, try to reach out to me on X at Gio Milian or with Brett at CanesWear on X as well, or Instagram if you use Instagram, whichever. Or if you want, I like you could send your social media handle here as well, and I'll reach out to you myself if you want to handle it like that too. Let's see here. So in terms of what he's asking, like Nikar, Patterson, Horton, Rudolph, those guys leaving. Let's start off from the beginning here. So Josh Horton, multiple injuries since he has been at Miami. They saw some promising things, like especially when he was coming out of high school. He had a monster senior year at Langston Hughes High School. You're talking about an interior D lineman that had 100 tackles his senior year of high school football in Georgia, playing big time football. Arrived here. History of injuries, had a shoulder issue his first year. Then another thing last year, was banged up again during spring. Didn't really work out at Miami. Sometimes this happens. This is what plays out. This is what I was alluding to before, that I didn't feel comfortable about where Miami stands with their defensive tackle room after you get past those first top three guys like your Justin Scott, your David Blay, your Ahmad Moten. After that, things get a little murky. You have Dante Simpson that really stepped up as a freshman this spring, but only so much you could rely on a true freshman at a physically demanding position at defensive tackle. So then moving on forward, the next guy that ended up entering the transfer portal, Zaquan Patterson. Talented player. I watched him for a couple of years coming out of Chaminade Madonna Prep. He played about 3 years there out of his 4 years of high school football. Talented player, box safety type. Miami and him, basically, it was a mutual parting of ways. Things weren't working out. And what I mean by that is when you're trying to sustain the culture, because Mario Cristobal talks a lot about building culture, team culture, what they expect from the players day in and day out. When certain things take place off the field or in the film room or just habits, practice habits, daily habits, there's certain things that they can and can't allow. And once it reaches a certain point, and when a coach and a player are not seeing eye to eye in that aspect, you have to move on sometimes. You have to kind of set the standard of what your team should be and what you expect from them. So that's the reality there. Nikar, another talented player. Miami plucked him away from Georgia the previous recruiting cycle. Great thing back then. Again, arrived at Miami, really flashed his first spring here. Even Cam Ward had some glowing reviews for him early on. Dealt with a little bit of an injury over the past few months. Then you got spring ball came now, was a little bit nicked up. The other thing that comes into play here is Nikar is the type of receiver that he has like a slot wide receiver body type. So he's not exactly a fit for the slot the way he plays. So that's one problem there. So you would like to see maybe he could potentially play the Z. A Z receiver needs to be able to run just about multiple different stems out of the route tree. That wasn't really happening. That wasn't developing there. So he was really a lot of like a deep ball threat guy. And what happened is you had young guys come in like Dalen Upshaw, who really took command of the Z receiver spot right behind JoJo Trader as soon as he arrived. He really emerged, especially near the end of camp. Joshua Moore at the X receiver position. Like CJ Daniels was out most of spring, so Joshua Moore was able to get a lot of reps. You're talking about a guy that's 6'4", over 200 pounds. He's the biggest receiver in the room right now. He really flashed at times. He had a couple of practices where he had multiple touchdowns. Now, how much he plays this year, we'll see. But then on top of all that, Malachi Toney stepping up into the slot this spring. Everything that he's done from beginning to end, the way he capped it off with his performance in the spring game too. All of that comes into play. And then you consider the NIL aspect of it's a business now, basically. You're paying X amount of dollars to all these different players. If a young player comes in or multiple guys come in and they may pass a guy or they may be on that same – I guess you could say same bar, and one guy's younger and the guy's older, we all know what's going to happen here. They're going to go with the guy that's younger because they view it as, okay, he's on the right trajectory. Potentially he has more ceiling than this guy. So mutual parting of ways there. There's no hard feelings or anything. Those three guys that I mentioned, I would say 2 out of those 3, like Patterson and Carr, they'll land at a Power 4 program, but it just wasn't working out here at Miami. And the last guy, you had Elias Rudolph, which was the latest departure into the transfer portal today. The reality is he was developing very well, actually, but Miami has about, well, before he left, 10 defensive ends in that room. Some guys are not going to be happy with their playing time.
Good point. Yeah,
you got 10 guys in that room, and your top guys right now are your Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesidor, Marquise Lightfoot, who really has come on the last 2 weeks of spring practice. I mean, pushing like for first team reps. Armando Blunt, who I've mentioned before spring, was really coming on in the strength and conditioning program. Hayden Lowe, who looks like the guy that just got drafted into the NFL, but he's a true freshman that should still be in high school right now. And then other guys like Booker Pickett and like Malik Bryant. There's a lot of guys at that spot that the reality is someone is not going to be happy with their time and where they're sitting now on the depth chart. And it wasn't a talent issue thing, because I could tell you, Elias Rudolph had some moments during camp, but those other guys, they're performing at a very high level. So this is called big boy college football. You will have multiple blue chip recruits come in, but some guys, it just won't work out, or they won't pan out, or they may not hit initial expectations. It happens.
And you got me excited hearing that they're loaded at that position. My goodness. Yeah, man, they're stacked.
No, it's I mean, that's a good point. There's a few reasons why people will leave. Number one is, there's no room for them. They don't have an opportunity. I mean, it's just like why NFL free agents leave or other free agents in other sports. I mean, you don't have an opportunity to advance with the team. I mean, it's not like you're backing up. Everyone talks about Sean Taylor backing up, Sean Taylor backing up. Sean Taylor knew that he was going to be the guy eventually. Some of these guys may not get there. And nowadays, everything is a microwave society. You need to go ahead and you want instant gratification. Another reason why someone now wants more money, right? Obviously, we just saw with the player from Tennessee. I want more money. I don't know what he's getting from UCLA, but I doubt he's getting the money he wanted. Is he even getting the money he was getting? And then there's the other thing. It's just, playing time. just like the first reason, you want more play. You think you can get more playing time. You think you want to try out a different coach. There's a lot of reasons now that these kids have free agency and they can change every single year. You're not going to find too many guys, the Stravier, Strepos, and others that have been here that are going to be in any program for 5 years anymore. You'll see plenty of guys in college football for 5 years now, because why go to the NFL if you can be making almost as much money in college?
Well, here's my thing with it, though, Brett. Like, everyone's calling it free agency now, but let's take a step back and look at it from like a broad view. It's even more than just free agency, because the reality is NFL, NBA, those guys have contracts. You can't enter free agency at any given moment. It's basically when your contract comes to an end. Mm-hmm. Guys have free reign, and they're just leaving at any moment. So funny enough, I was having a conversation with Amon Richards about this before we got on here. And I told him, I said, man, like guys like Darrell Langham, like that really stuck it out, that, maybe they weren't a star player, but they got their moments later on in their career. They got in the game. They made key plays. You're not going to really see that anymore because of the era that we're in now. Mm-hmm.
Look at Braxton Berrios. What did he didn't do anything his first few years. I mean, everyone was saying he's going to be going to North Carolina or transferring somewhere else, but he stayed and he had a great year for the team.
He was very close to going to Arizona State, actually.
Yeah. So a lot of people thought I had heard North Carolina, Arizona State. So he told me he thought he wasn't going anywhere, but we never, of course, anyone is going to say that I'm not going anywhere. But look what he did. And we finally got his opportunity. I mean, Darrell Langham had one of the most iconic catches in Canes history. I mean, on that play, to beat Florida State after the 7-game losing streak. So you never know what's going to happen when a guy waits his turn. I mean, I know it's not an easy thing to wait your turn, but now if you're getting paid, it's a lot easier, depending what you want. Let's get to the questions here. Let's see. We got one. Gio, the man of the people. All right. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Jason Sanchez, kudos to Mario for not negotiating the culture. I agree on that. That was a great statement that he came out and made, if that's what we're talking about. I mean, or am I missing something there?
No, I don't think you're missing anything there at all. Just the way that some situations were handled in one of the 4 departures. His comments about Nico. I know there's some Cane fans that agree, some that don't agree with what Mario said, but Mario's not the only coach that's commented on it. You've had Marcus from Notre Dame comment on it, Brian Kelly, LSU. I think I may be forgetting 1 or 2 coaches, but look, even the Nico situation with UCLA is not completely over either. Apparently, they haven't finalized things. It's still up in the air.
Well, if you have an agreement to play somewhere and you decide that, right before the spring game is when it happened, right? It's like, I'm not playing. It's like you put the team in a bad position. I'd say, kudos to Mario, but, kudos to Heupel as well, that we're not going to buckle to these players, because once it starts happening, it's going to start happening more and more.
Well,
Mario said if you want to...
No, go ahead.
You go.
No, we talked about it earlier, Brett, that it was even reported by, I'm sure Gio knows who he is, Josh Pate, that after the regular season, before the college football playoff, Nico's family was already trying to get more money out of Tennessee then. Like saying, hey, I got you to the playoff. I want more money now. So this isn't just start allegedly last week or 2 weeks ago. This has been brewing. And Josh Heupel said, you know what? Get out. You're gone. He didn't show up to practice on Friday, supposedly. Saturday, and then he told the team, no, he's out of here. He's gone.
Well, that's the biggest mistake he made right there. Because he lost leverage there when he did that. Whoever told the kid to skip practice, though, don't show up to practice when you're in the middle of a negotiation. Like, for example, let me give a great example of this. Let's say you're working a job, right? You're working for a big company, right? And you say you want a raise, and they tell you, well, we got to see. And then you say, well, you know what? I'm just going to stop doing the work, and I just hope that they give me a raise anyways. It
or
doesn't
not show up.
Exactly. In real life, it doesn't work like that. I'm just going to, nobody's holding out at the regular job. I mean, can you imagine that? You're at your regular job and they say, I'm holding out. I'm not coming to work for a week because I want
to tell you, you're fired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't happen in the real world, only in sports. And especially when there's guaranteed salaries and things like that, or you signed a contract. I know it's a lot of people say, oh, guys that honor their contract are not making enough money. If you sign a contract and if you're an adult and you sign that contract, you should play the contract out. I mean, that's what I would tell my kids. I don't care if you're great. Then you should have said beforehand, you know what? Let's make this contract a variable annuity. If I'm not doing not doing as well, we'll just keep me paid the same thing. If I'm doing great, you got to pay me more money.
Yeah.
I don't think it works like that.
I can't say I'm totally surprised by all this because we went from paying them nothing to like opening it up. So now, especially as you know, the quarterback position, to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and say that I saw every single Tennessee game. I saw maybe 2 or 3 full. Kid's talented.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing the ball, I don't think he's all that. I mean, I'm sure he'll get better, but
let's break it down very simple, Mondo. I've shared this quite a bit over the past couple of days. 19 touchdowns last year passing for Nico.
Mm-hmm.
10 of those came against non-conference teams like G5 teams.
Right.
He threw 9 touchdowns in 8 SEC games. You're going to tell me that's good? Mind you,
no.
4 of those 9 touchdowns came against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was a bottom 4 defense in the SEC.
And he had probably the best defense in the conference and a hell of a running back is what he had.
I was going to say, how did this team get to the playoffs?
Oh, Dylan.
They had a really good their defense. They had a really good defense.
Dylan Sampson and that defense, and you know what? Maybe Nico should have gave a cut of his NIL too. Dylan Sampson and that defense.
If you have that kind of a year, and they're going to say, hey, we can replace you, especially if they have that kind of defense coming back. But just goes to show all fans, it's just not the quarterback position that'll do it. Because obviously Cam Moore was quite a bit better than him last year. And we didn't make the playoffs. And I don't know if that's a news flash for anybody. Let's see. What's that? Proud by Pack TV says 12 came in and caused a lot of problems for a lot of players in that room. Absolutely. Amon says 23 TDs and 50 catches. What is he referring to there?
Oh,
Amon.
23.
Was it 23 TDs and what? I'm sorry, Brett?
23 TDs and 50 catches.
Oh, yeah, no, this is a conversation me and him were having.
This is a secret private conversation. So it's are you at liberty to share it?
No, not right now.
maybe
there you go. Breaking news on the CanesWear podcast. Thank you, Amon. Thank you, Gio, for breaking that news right now. We're all going to put on our telepathy hats and see if we can go ahead and reach deep in there. Mondo, do you have that?
For the millions and millions watching and listening, we'll be talking about it off camera at 10:20.
Millions and millions. So, yes, millions and millions. That's like Keith Mitchell, rounds 1 through 4. All right. Jason Sanchez, that DE room is deep. Absolutely. Yes. So would you say that's the deepest position on the team?
That what happened?
Is that the deepest position on the team, the DE room?
I think you can make an argument between that and the tight end room. They got some really good tight ends in that room. They got a lot of different body types, different skill sets, blockers, guys that can get vertical, guys that are full-on Swiss Army knives like Elijah Lofton. So they got quite a few guys in that tight end room. But yeah, I would say it's competition between those two in terms of like full-on depth. Like those are pretty good rooms.
I know it's really early. Obviously, it's April, but I was going to ask you, other than Lofton, we know he's going to be an integral part of the team. Who do you see as one other name or one other guy that's really caught your eye at that position that we can really look forward to in the fall to really breaking out this season?
What, at the tight end position?
Yes.
Yeah. I know some people around the program are really excited about Alex Bowman, the transfer from Tulane. Was a little nicked up to start up spring, but he's healthy now. I was told, at least, that there's one word specifically. They said consistent, very consistent, steady guy. So they expect some good things from him. Brock Schott really came on throughout spring as well. The surprise guys, we got a walk-on tight end that's like 6'7". He does not drop the ball, and he could block. His name is
Really?
Owen Ruskovich, number 44, and he's got 3
Look at
years.
that.
I see this guy playing basketball in the future. I've never seen the guy. I've in the Jimmy Graham and others that are tight ends that are great. Antonio Gates. I don't know if this Ruskovich, if he doesn't make it as a tight end, I see him playing basketball.
It's
And
either
of those guys.
Either that or with a last name like that, I'll be betting him on Hard Rock table tennis in 5 years for sure.
Only on Tuesdays, Mondo. Only on Tuesdays.
You know how it is.
Yeah. So we got Ruskovich. Who else do we got at tight end?
You got a couple other guys too. Luca Gilbert as well. He's in the mix there. Freshman.
We have the best player on the team as a tight end, right?
At least offensively, yeah. I think Elijah Lofton. Yeah, well, you can make an argument like Francis Malagnola as well, obviously, but I think like from a skilled position set, like
Lofton's going to catch more than Malagnola, all right? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yes, Francis, great guy, came to the store, fantastic guy, him and his brother. Jacob Carlton, Liz Spears or what? What are we looking at there?
Oh yeah, I think he's a Seminole fan.
All right, Jacob, welcome to the show. Blue says, good breakdown, Brett. Thank you very much, Blue. You keep that favorite caller right there. Storming back, we got Brett. Thank you, storming back. Blue, celebrate the loyal players. Absolutely, great point. You know, loyalty is key. Loyalty is, I know Mario likes loyalty, and you like to see loyalty in return also. It's, loyalty can't go one way.
I love it as well, but I will say, I was never I played baseball through high school, but I can remember being 18, 19, 20, 21 and having like $3 in my wallet. So I can only imagine these kids that age getting offered hundreds of thousands, if not millions at the quarterback position or running back, receiver, whatever it may be. Yeah, do you really fault them from going from school to school? I'm down with the kids staying 2-3 years, but I just think back to when I was 21, 22, a long time ago. If somebody offered me $250K, I'd be like, I'll go play in Antarctica right now. I don't care how cold it is.
I've always said that. If you're a kid and they offer you this money, what are you going to do? Even like you look at the NBA or any other sport, and they're giving you all this money. It's hard not to be the same. It's hard to be the same person when you're making that. And especially the guys before in college couldn't make any money. That was that was the negative of the whole thing. You couldn't even be bought McDonald's. You couldn't have a side job. You couldn't do anything. And then it's like anything else. You open up the floodgates, and it's going to be like this for a while. I do think everything will settle down a little bit. They'll figure this out. It's just right now we're going through it. But you're right, Mondo. And Mondo was. I looked up his old records. He was a 5-star athlete and as a baseball player. And what do you play? Second base, Mondo?
I just couldn't hit after my junior year, but I could field pretty well.
I'm sure he was a great fielder. I could see him in the Major League Baseball, the guys with all glove, no bat. I could see you.
I wanted to ask Gio on it. Somebody asked me yesterday. I wanted to bring it up. The money aside, what the mindset of a Patterson? Let's say his case, for example, could it be also like looking forward to other players going forward? Like in his head, he's probably thinking, you know what? It's my turn now in this secondary. He sees like a Brantley come in. I know it's not the exact same position. I get it. But he sees a Brantley come in. He sees a Lucas come in. He's probably looking around saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? I thought I was the guy. Could it be a case of that as well? Like, hey, this is my room. Maybe it's a stretch, but a guy brought it up to me yesterday, and I was like, I don't know, but who knows?
I think for some guys that comes into play as well. Not so much with his case. I will say this, though, and this has to do with the era that we're in college football now, that the days of a coach, like, sitting down with these kids and like, oh, you're going to red shirt and maybe by like year 2 or 3, you're going to be a contributor or starter or whatever. I feel like that's kind of going by the wayside because of what the transfer portal is. Like, for example, I think kids have to come in more prepared now than ever before. Like, whether you're going to be a starter or you're going to be like a rotation guy or a contributor or a special teams guy your first year, like you got to be more prepared now to play right away more than ever because of the transfer portal. It gives coaches the opportunity around the country to basically say, well, I don't feel good about this spot this year, so we're going to throw 2 or 3 guys at this position here. We're just going to throw numbers and bodies at it, and we'll figure it out. I just think the development aspect, and this is not just a Miami thing, this is just around the country, it's gone a bit out the window. It really has. It really has, because, like, for example, Steve Kim brought this up to me. I think it was either yesterday or it was recently, and he mentioned, he's like, yeah, I look back to guys that played on the teams in the 80s, like Dale Dawkins, who was a really
number 11.
Great guy.
Number 11. Yeah.
Really good receiver, made it to the NFL, but didn't really play much at all until his last year.
Yep.
That was development. He waited his turn, his time, and everything. So, it's sad and unfortunate, but this is where we are now. And the thing is, too, like, for example, the high school quarterback market, go back to the 2023 rankings for quarterbacks in that year. This was pointed out recently. 4 of the top 5 quarterbacks have already transferred to another program. One of them is already making his way to his 3rd collegiate football program. So there's no loyalty. It's a business now. Every single phrase you want to throw at it, it's very true.
No, that's a good point. In the days before, players would stay, they'd be loyal, they'd stay, and you never knew. All they needed is one good year out of 4 to make the NFL. A lot of times, they had to produce in the NFL. Now it seems like if somebody transfers, they're going to transfer again. It is very rare, I think, anyone will transfer just once anymore. Jalen Phillips came from UCLA to Miami and then went to the NFL. But you're not going to see as many players like that anymore, I think. I think you're going to see guys they're going to go to another school because there's more money involved and they're going to bounce around. And I think NFL teams are going to have to look at that and say, wait a second, is this the kind of guy we want on our roster? Or do we want a guy that's been there for 4 years and, was in one system with a coach? But a guy that's bouncing around, it's basically saying, I'm me first. I can see transferring once or twice. But when you're transferring 4 times in 5 years,
there's guys that are literally on like their 4th or 5th school. Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, I think in my mind, when I see those kids that do that, and I think to myself, all right, so let's say you want to make it in the NFL, right? You don't think someone in that front office is going to ask, so why did you change schools so many times? What happened? Like, even though guys that do that, like 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to make the league. They're bouncing from school to school because they're just looking for the next best thing, or they lost their job at a previous school, their starting job, or whatever it is.
But the problem is when someone is the starter and they're leaving. We're just going to bounce around each time. Now, I understand money, like Mondo said. When you're in high school playing or before college and you didn't have any money to get, now it's a whole new world. But everybody's going to pay you something, correct? You're getting paid now. The schools are going to start paying people. Has that already started, or that's going to start?
No, that's still going through litigation and everything. All
right. Well, so
they
we'll see
have a final ruling on everything, but it is coming down soon.
Stormy Back to the U says, didn't Mario negotiate TVD? Cough. Seems like TVD was so many years ago, doesn't it? I know it was too long ago.
He always comes up somehow, doesn't he?
Yeah, he always gets. He transferred again. Where did he go this year again? He went from Wisconsin.
He went to SMU.
SMU, good. So is he going to be the starter there? Or?
No, he's sitting out this year. He will compete for the starting job next year.
Is he injured?
Yeah, he's recovering from an injury.
Has he still got better from when he got injured with us and he just didn't? Well, he got injured the next year with Wisconsin when he was starting, I know, but he's been banged up pretty bad. Great kid. A great kid. Did a signing for him at the store. Just a good kid, good family. Jason says Nico is going to let his dad ruin his career. Definitely. Unfortunately, it's his dad. It's the guy that raised him. But that happens. these parents are living through vicariously through their kids. Look at the Ball brothers. I mean, they turned out fine for them, but their dad did everything they can, it seemed, to ruin their career because he wanted to be the star. Last time I checked, he thought he was better than Michael Jordan, wasn't he?
I was hearing I worked today on the road. It was an interesting line. Colin Coward. He said that Nico's dad, he compared him to the pageant mom. He called him the quarterback dad. He says that he's just.
That's a good point. That is a great point.
But he was serious about it. He's like, what he just pulled, as you saw, it's been reported. I'm sure Gio can speak on it. Oregon didn't want nothing to do with him. Other big name schools didn't want to even touch him, and he was available for everybody. So he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with that, the way he handled it, I guess.
But you know what? If he has a good year, it's all forgotten. Let's face it. These guys have a good year. Everybody's memory is very short. As Ted Lasso said, they got the goldfish memory. And it's just you go ahead and everyone's going to love him. It's not so going to player comes. If you get a player on your team and he's the 5th school in 5 years or whatever, okay, you're still going to love him if he comes to your team. Who was the basketball player we had a few years ago that we went to the Elite Eight? I think he was on our team. He looked like he was 14, but he'd been on 5 teams.
I think I know you're talking about.
I'm drawing a blank right now.
He got the Elite Eight that year. Great kid and everything like that. But he'd been on 5 teams. And I don't even know how he got on 5 teams. That was before the transfer portal. If anyone knows that name, ring in. Zach Lesnar says Mondo. So Mondo, you got a fan in Zach.
Oh yeah, he's a big Canes baseball guy. He's a really good guy, very knowledgeable.
You're admitting that there are baseball fans out there right now?
They won last night. They beat FAU.
All right, there you go. Okay.
Hey, 3 wins in a row. World Series, baby.
We're back, baby. We're back, baby. As long as we get in the tournament, you never know. It's the winner of the ACC tournament gets an automatic bid.
Yeah, they changed it this year. Before they used to have this ridiculous pool play thing in the ACC tournament. Now it's like the ACC basketball tournament where you actually one and done. You lose one, you're out. It's
one and done. Okay.
Yeah.
Juan Manuel says, sorry, Gio? Nico not showing up is a conduct detrimental towards the team. Absolutely. You got to be, especially if you're the quarterback. I mean, I understand that every position is important, but there's one position where you need a leader, and that's the quarterback. And if the leader says, I'm not playing, you're in trouble.
Now, of course, the big question now is what the heck does Tennessee do at quarterback? So we'll see.
Will another player, jump from another team to go there? And
exactly.
I've heard some chatter about someone they're eyeing.
Anybody we should worry about on our team?
No. But the quarterback at Kansas State, Avery Johnson, there's quite a few teams poking around to try to get him to jump out into the transfer portal. We'll see if it happens. Apparently Tennessee has interest there too. I think the interesting aspect about that, though, is he has a receiver that's originally from the state of Florida. He had a career year last season, like 800-something yards, 5 touchdowns, set a Kansas State record for a sophomore season in program history. That kid's name is Chase Brown. He's originally from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. So maybe something to monitor. If his quarterback leaves, things can change very quickly. I know the receiver was looking more so to like staying this year, not to hop in the portal, kind of bet on himself and what he's already been like building towards there. But again, your quarterback leaves, that changes a lot. That changes a lot, especially for a receiver.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Those receivers are dependent. They've been practicing probably all offseason with him. Running routes and everything like that, and you're correct. We don't even realize that.
I saw you
get to see it, but now the players inside really hurting.
I saw you tweet out a little while ago, maybe a couple hours ago, about kid that just went into the portal that Miami's looking for a 3rd running back.
There's a few guys
LSU
out
kid,
there.
Right?
Yeah, there's a few guys out there that can make some sense. I think the LSU kid makes a lot of sense. Look, I know maybe some people might be against it. Talented kid coming out of high school. He is going into his 7th year of college football, but he's had some injuries.
I saw the replies to your tweet, yes.
He's had some injuries along the way, but productive back when he's been healthy and when he's played at LSU, he was ranked the 5-star, number 2 running back in the country. LSU basically decided to move on from him because they were just like, all right, you've had all these injuries here. And then Brian Kelly literally had a press conference and said, he's like, yeah, we're going to be moving on forward without John Emery. So I think he's a guy that makes sense because at this stage of the game, when you get into April, all right, so what is that? We're about 3 months and some change from fall camp opening up in August.
Uh-huh.
It is very difficult at this stage of the game to tell a young running back that may be looking for a more expanded role transferring out of another program. Hey, yeah, at best you might be running back 3 here after Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle, which are like 1A and 1B in terms of how they're handling the carries right now. So at best you're selling running back 3, a veteran guy that's dealt with some injuries, has actual production, played in the SEC. He started games in the SEC. Like I think people look at it, they're like, oh, 7th year, oh, this and that, oh, the injuries. No, we don't need that or whatever. It's going to be difficult to get another different type of guy. Like I know people are talking about like, oh, what about the NC State running back? He's from Naples, Florida. He was in a rotation thing too. I think he was like number 2 or number 3 for NC State. He's possibly looking for a bigger role. He's still got a whole 2 other years of eligibility. Or the Colorado kid, NC State kid is Kendrick Raphael. The Colorado kid, Isaiah Agustav, who's from Naples as well. He may be looking for a more expanded role. Or I think another guy that can make sense, Branson Robinson, which is a very similar scenario to John Emery at LSU, Georgia running back. Was like a borderline 5-star recruit coming out of high school. I think he was like the number 4 running back in the country.
Oh.
He had a really good freshman year at Georgia, had an injury. They've had a couple of, like Georgia brings in running backs like crazy. I'm sure we've all seen this over the years, but he's someone that can make some sense too. Like it's so, I understand people are like, see these things and they're like, oh no, but we got to get something better or someone younger. It's not an easy sell to tell a kid that is 19, 20 years old, who's already played a year or 2 of college football. Hey, at best we can do for you is running back 3. Like you can come and compete, but we already have Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle who are already entrenched and proven.
Yeah, how would they feel? How are Fletcher and Lyle going to feel, and Pringle when the Canes bring in somebody that's challenging for the?
Miami played about 4 running backs last year. Obviously, they're 2 main guys for majority of the season. You had Damian Martinez and Mark Fletcher, and then Jordan Lyle continued coming along throughout the season. A.J. Allen got his moments. Even Chris Johnson played early in the year, but I don't think it really affects much. Basically, whoever they can get out of the portal for like a depth piece at running back, they're going to see maybe at most 50, 60 carries. So why would you spend a whole, I don't know, just the way I look at it, I don't see Miami picking up like a big time star running back with just like out of the blue. Like someone asked me the other day, oh, what about Jaden Ott? Like, why didn't Miami go after him? Jaden Ott already knew where he was going to go before he even hit the transfer portal.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, I would think that they have planned it. Is there a big-time linebacker that is there any big-time linebackers in the portal? I saw you said the Boise State defensive tackle was in the portal right now, but is there a big-time linebacker out there that the Canes, I know you can't say, but is there anybody out there that we could be looking at?
I wouldn't say anyone in particular yet. It's really hard to come by some of this information too. Like you have to basically how this whole process goes is you got to talk with some people that are connected with others or connections through agents. And then around this time of the year too, like finding out this information from agents. Like I know guys that are considering entering the portal, but they're not in there yet. Like I'm sure everyone's heard the rumors circulating about maybe Colby Young goes back into the portal or maybe Noah Thomas from Georgia. But until those guys actually do, doesn't really matter. I will say one thing though, mentioned this earlier in the day, like the safety Miami's really interested in, Gregory Smith from Florida. He's very likely going back to Florida. They got things ironed out there. There was another defensive back that's really good. That there was a lot of chatter that he may enter. He's actually going to stay now. So these things are very much in flux, fluid. Like there's negotiations going on between player, agent, and schools. So no one right now that I would say like would seriously move the needle. But again, you got 10 days of transfer portal madness. Guys are going to be jumping in and out. Some kids will go in the portal and then a day or two later they'll say, I'm going back, or let's run it back. Or they'll go back to their school because maybe the market wasn't what they thought it would be for them.
Yeah, I saw some guy online before jumping on here. He just did his research. I don't know how he pulled this together, but he found out that at the moment, which was a couple hours ago, there was 10,200 names in the transfer portal. That's like
it's very true.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start a little business, be like the Mel Kibers of the portal.
Yeah, I know name-wise. I know Brett. You hit me up earlier today. Urlacher's kid put his name in the portal.
Urlacher's kid, yeah. So, what about him? What is the thoughts? Obviously, it's got a great name, Hall of Famer, great Chicago Bear. Any interest in our program? Does he fit into it? Is he thinking of coming south, or is that guy going to stay pretty much? Is he going to Ohio State or somewhere like that?
You're talking about Kennedy Urlacher from Notre Dame, Brian's son.
Yeah.
I don't expect Miami to go in that direction. Miami had brought him in on a visit when he was coming out of high school. Things didn't really progress from there. I don't think that's someone that they would circle back on right now. Really? When it comes to like linebacker right now, like if they were to add someone, it has to be an impact guy, defensive tackle, an impact guy that could really play in that rotation, like the kid that they're going after from Boise State right now, Feely.
We are going after what?
A safety, I know, like a depth piece, yeah, but especially a guy that can start. And wide receiver, they want like an outside guy that can threaten deep, that can get vertical, and has proven consistent production. And then a slot. You know, it's not. I've mentioned this before. It's not off the table. Potentially 2 receivers. That's very much on the table.
Talking about quarterback, obviously we haven't seen Carson Beck yet. And I think he's going to be a surprise to Canes fans. We spoke about it where at Georgia they dropped the most passes for yards. I think there was that calculation that you came up with. A lot of other things. They didn't have really the best skill positions. Played a lot better with Brock Bowers. Who is number 2 right now, would you say?
If the season started tomorrow, I think they would go with a safe option and experience going with Emory. I do like where Luke Nichols' trajectory is headed, especially exiting out of spring. Started really coming on that last week of spring football. So we'll have to see if maybe he makes another jump between now and August.
Well, yeah. So
you think Emory stays?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I know some people saw that report that came out that it's got a new NIL agent and everything.
Right.
Apparently, his agent is getting calls from schools and whatnot. We'll see. This is why I kind of hinted before that, there could be the possibility that maybe Miami does have to go in the portal and bring in one more quarterback if someone leaves. I've mentioned before too, a position people are not really talking about, but there is some concerns. The kicker situation is not entirely settled right now either.
Right.
The Texas, I think Cliff had mentioned. Hey, Cliff, good to see you. The kicker position, the kid from Texas, or where? Not Texas. What school? Number 1 kicker or so is in the portal. Didn't we see that, Mondo?
Was it a kid from Louisiana? Maybe no.
I'm not sure. It was somewhere. It was a smaller school.
There's a 4-year starter kicker that's in the transfer portal right now. Someone had brought it up to me the other day, actually. 4-year. I believe he was playing at Baylor. Hold on.
Is this the part of the show where Gio brings up his weekly Jeff Fiegels reference?
No.
So there was the kicker.
I have it for you. Isaiah Hankins from Baylor's 4-year starter. I'll bring up his numbers for you right now. That is give you his efficiency. So here we go. Last season, he was 14 for 19, 73%, was 98% on his extra points. He had a season long of 51 yards converted for a field goal. The prior year, 54. Career average, hold on, trying to pull up his career average here. Career average is about 72% on field goals.
The guy that I was talking about, sorry.
He's not Andy Borregales, but
no. The guy I was talking about, Texas State kicker Mason Shipley. It was 2023 first team. I don't know if he was All-American or what, but have we heard? That's the guy that someone pointed out to me. Mason Shipley, Texas State, entered the portal. Gio, if you don't know about that guy, you can run with it now.
Pretty interesting. His second year that he played college football here shows here he was 15 for 15. Want to see what his career long is, though. Hold on. Let me get a better metric. Oh, wow. He had a career long from 60 yards out this past season. Let's see. He was about almost 80% last year. Is 15 for 19. His misses were 2 misses inside of the 30 to 39 range. He was 4 for 5 from 40 to 49, and he was 2 for 3 on 50 yards plus. That's actually impressive. Who told you about that?
That was, I think, Uncle Cliff, who I don't know where he is today, but Uncle Cliff just messaged us a couple of days ago in the Mondo Cliff and Brett show. Text. But yeah, I'd never heard of the guy, and all of a sudden I remembered. So can you call somebody at the U and see if we can get him in here?
Yeah, I could ask, see, and maybe if they would inquire or not.
I'm sure they know about this kid, right?
He's in the transfer portal right now. I gotta see.
Yeah, that's what it was. There was I guess there was a post about it or something. I'll send it to you.
Oh wow, yeah, he is in the transfer portal.
All right, well, let's get him right now. Let's see if the CanesWear podcast can go ahead and help put this deal together. If anyone's out there, please call Mario right now. Miami, Florida, shout out to the boys. Hit the like button. What do you got there, Gio?
That's a really good find, actually, by Cliff. I have to admit that looking at the numbers, it's because here's the thing. Like the kid that they brought in from FAU, he was mainly a kickoff specialist at FAU. I think he went about 2 for 6 or 2 for 7 last year. It's not so much that he doesn't have the power in his legs. It's been more so he's had like an accuracy thing going on since he was at FAU. Now, when it comes to Murray, this is his second year with the program. He played in the Ball State game last year, hit a field goal. I think it was about from 37 yards out, a couple extra points. They had him do a couple kickoffs, but I'll say this, someone who's been around the program for 40-something years now that has seen Butch Davis come through here, Dennis Erickson, Jimmy Johnson. They've seen it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. He shared with me before spring ended that he was concerned with the kicker situation. And one of the interesting things I noticed, the kicker that they brought in from the recruiting side of things, Abram Murray, he was not the first kicker in the game during the spring game. It was actually Carter Davis, the transfer they brought in from FAU, he was mainly a kickoff specialist for the role. So just saying this source, I think people could probably put 2 and 2 together who it is, but he's seen a lot of football in this state and especially from the University of Miami.
It wasn't too long ago before the Borregales boys came. Kicking held us back, and that was the year we lost to Florida. Was that the year we lost to Florida, North Carolina? I'm not sure, but
yes.
So that was everything went wrong. So you need a kicker. We've been spoiled the last few years.
Yep.
So we definitely need to focus on that. So if this kid's available, I know you don't want to throw money at a kicker, but give him money. Make it happen.
Yeah, it's
nothing's worse than that. Everybody on the team is just waiting for that one guy to kick the ball and see if he can get through the uprights.
It's tough. I I know Murray, Abram Murray was highly ranked coming out of high school and whatnot. Sometimes some kickers, young kickers, sometimes they need a little bit of time. They may not be ready right away. I'm not sure if it happens that they take a guy, but it was definitely a serious concern brought up. And I absolutely trust this guy because he's seen this program for many years.
Awesome.
Mondo, I'll tell you who it is after we're done here.
All right, sounds good to me. I'm interested.
Zach Lesnar.
And then you'll understand why I'm saying it.
No, I can tell the way you're talking about it. It's somebody that you greatly respect. So I got you.
So let's get to some questions here.
Yes, let's get to some questions.
See, where were we last at?
Dylan Sampson and James Pierce. I guess are they Tennessee who carried the offense? Is that what Zach is saying? Were they on Tennessee?
Yeah, Samson was a running back last year. Yes.
All right, Kim Sanchez, a wonderful fan of the show. Hi guys, love your show. Thank you for all the information. For sure, Jason. Looks like Jason and Kim have the same last name. How about that? Hassan, Miami hate is real. That's why those so-called sports hosts always mention Miami. It's also for clicks. All
yes.
Right. Teasers from Juan Manuel. Gio, who's the DT from, we just covered that, from Boise State that Miami is after? What are the odds we're going to get him, Mondo?
Well, they said, I just read before coming on that he was supposed to come here for a visit.
This weekend.
And they pushed back the Miami visit.
You think we're going to get him, Gio?
I still think it's too early. There's other programs involved there. Now, sometimes what happens in these transfer portal situations, schools will get guys to cancel their other visits. They'll try to lock them down once the kid is on campus. So we'll see if Miami can get something like that done.
Awesome. Hype us up about baseball, Mondo. Miami baseball, awesome. We'll just say on basketball, by the way, let's breaking news there. We've got a great signing today, didn't we, Gio?
What, in basketball?
Basketball.
Yeah. They got a Slovakian kid today. They're going international. They're actually after quite a few international guys. They're after the Bosnian kid. There's another kid that was shared with me, a really good source actually today. It told me, a good friend of mine, Max. NBA, there's an NBA, like a legitimate NBA prospect that's being viewed between second and first round that they're going after.
Wow.
I guess, yeah. Well, I don't want to name drop it yet because it's kind of like behind a back door, behind the scenes that they're working on that. But legitimate guy overseas that is getting projections between first and second round. So it's not like a definite thing it's going to happen, but they're really going after this kid.
What do we know about the Slovakian? What is his name? Timoto Muchigo? How do you pronounce it?
Hold on. I don't want to butcher his name either. Hold on. Yeah.
I think Brett just did.
It's Timotej or Timo. I'm guessing Timotej Malovic.
All right.
6'9" Slovakian wing, 36% beyond the arc, 3-pointers. Depending on the league he's played in, there's one league he played in that coming off the bench, he was averaging about 40% from three, just on like 23, 24 minutes per game. So
now, does he have any other game besides the three? I mean, is he going to be someone? Are we going to look for?
He's a 3-and-D guy.
Okay.
He can play defense too.
All right, so basically, you're saying we're going to have the next Jokovic on the.
I wouldn't go that far, but kids got talent. I got to give credit to Coach Jay Lucas. He even landed a top 50 basketball recruit this week, and Dante Allen. They're landing some guys, and they're in play for a lot more others. Basically, replacing an entire roster is what he's doing. So Miami's going to have a whole brand new team in basketball. We'll see how it all gels together and whatnot, but they're getting talented guys, some key pieces.
That's the great thing now. You come in, you get to start. It's like playing 5-card draw. You get to keep an ace if you can, or you just say, I want all new cards. And, you don't have to keep guys that just think they want to stay because they're on a scholarship. You get to start all over again. And I mean, there's nothing better, and especially if you're a young coach and you want to form the team, because we know in a year or two, it's right now the honeymoon, and then it's calling for their job. And we saw what the Gator coach did. What was this, his third year with the team, and he turned that team into a national championship.
I know some people weren't exactly thrilled with the hire, but I'm of the school of, you know what, sometimes you got to give somebody a chance. Like
exactly.
his pedigree, the guy came from Duke. I'm sure he learned under Coach K and the new guy, etc. The guy supposedly is a recruiting guru, and you see what he's doing already. So just let's see how it goes.
I'm excited about it, especially in this day and age with the NIL. The older coaches do not want to stay. I mean, not every single one, but look at Coach L. I've had enough. Nick Saban. I mean, there's so many others that Virginia's basketball coach.
Well, Saban was doing the NIL before the NIL, though.
Yeah, he was.
Come on.
Once everybody got even, but he didn't want kids telling him what to do. That's why he left the NFL. He said, I don't want, players to tell me what to do. And now the players have the power, which they did not have before. So how many guys have we got on the team so far, Gio, on the basketball team?
Through the transfer portal, I believe that's about 5 guys now through the transfer portal. Yeah, if I'm someone correct me if I'm wrong. Then you got a high school bit, so it's about six so far, and they're still adding. They got guys. They'll have the Bosnian kid visiting shortly as well. So yeah,
so half the kid will be European. Half the team will be European.
I'd say probably like a good 30 to 35%.
Yeah, then they play a certain type of basketball. If you can get the right players, and that'll be awesome. Gio, Jason said, do you see Luke Nickel being the number 2 behind Beck? We talked about that already. One thing about Luke, I thought, is that he's obviously a great runner, correct? He's great with his feet. And in like the scrimmage or the spring games, the second they go ahead and like almost get an arm on you, they count him as down. So he couldn't even really dazzle with his footwork, correct?
Yeah, but I thought he did some impressive things just in terms of like his internal clock, knowing when to get outside the pocket. The other guys, I kind of felt like they were holding on to the ball for a little too long.
All right. Well, and there was a pass, I think, 40-yard pass, like a touchdown, nice pass that they called it dead, but it was a nice throw by him. That probably in a game could happen because they wouldn't have actually brought him down.
Correct.
Juan Manuel says Cortez Kennedy would have been gone after the 88-89, where he became an All-American number 3 overall Hall of Fame. If it was today, Cortez Kennedy may have never been.
It's true. Cortez Kennedy was a case of development.
Mm-hmm. The defense, we've had so many great defensive tackles on this.
Yeah, with if it would have been back then, the NIL now, I remember back when you had guys like Will Fork and Sean Taylor and Kellen Winslow on the bench, Frank Gore on the bench. They couldn't even sniff the field.
Exactly.
Exactly. It was wild.
That was, but the defensive. This is definitely DTU, defensive tackle U from, Jerome Brown, Cortez Kennedy, Sapp. I mean, so many others that dominated on the line. We need to get back there. I thought one of the reasons we were so light for a few years is we just did not dominate the line of scrimmage like we used to.
I've been begging before this season, before 2 years ago, interior defensive lines position where I've been like begging for a long time.
Well, they heard you, Mondo. They heard you.
When we were dominant, that was always like
it was the
monsters.
best.
I'm talking about defensive tackles. Like they always had beasts up in there, up front in the middle.
It makes the linebackers a lot better too. I think from Darren Smith to Dan Morgan, they've said, hey, we didn't have to do nearly as much work because the guys up front.
Yeah.
So Pena from Syracuse, Zach Lesner's asking. We talked about him. It's too early to say, correct?
Yes.
Fresh is Pena. Everybody wants Pena. We need a big 325-pounder. Fresh 3542 says. Great stage name there, DT. How are we on DT right now? It's
we have those top 3 guys drop off after that. You got a freshman that's really flashed throughout spring, Dante Simpson, but very thin there at that position.
Yeah.
Well, you see it. They're going after the Boise State kid as well.
Yeah.
they're looking for real some serious production. That whoever they end up getting, it's with the mindset of we need to add a guy that is going to seriously contribute to the room.
Awesome. More Gio, you hearing anything on Pena? Beyonce is the new owner of the Miami Hurricanes. There's a new one. Do you want? Okay. Let's see. Running back Amos looks good.
That's the kid. He started off at Marshall, I believe. From what I understand, I don't think that'll be an option for Miami. He's looking for a larger role. He's kind of bounced around from a couple of schools because it hasn't really worked out for him because he ends up like the number 2 or number 3 guy at some of these schools. So he's kept on bouncing around. I don't expect Miami to go in that direction.
So it goes without saying that defensive end and interior defensive line are like 2 different levels right now, obviously, right, Gio?
No, well, I think Justin Scott has all the ability to become a household name this year, like a national guy, like really well known around college football, as long as he stays healthy. He's taken a really big jump. I think David Blaze is going to help them a lot. He really started popping as soon as the pads came on in spring. Mod Moten, everyone knows what he brings to the table as well. He's really developed within this program. So they got to get that. They got to get that veteran, proven guy, another guy to add in there. They have to, whether it's the Boise State kid or if it's someone else that hasn't come on the radar yet. You still got a whole other 9 days in the portal, but they got to shake something there.
Today was literally the first day, correct?
Yes.
Today was the first day. So a small portion of the players have actually come out. A lot of players are going to come out.
Yeah. You're going to see more, and especially when it gets to like closing time. Everyone knows that song, Closing Time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when it gets to closing time, sometimes there's some surprises that hop in there because things just didn't work out or whatever the case may be at the school that they're at. There was negotiations going on back and forth behind doors, and kids just hop in right at the end. Like I've seen it happen multiple times. Like dating back to right after Mario Cristobal's first season, there was this discussion back then: is TVD going to enter? Is Jake Garcia going to enter? The absolute last day, Jake Garcia enters the transfer portal.
He's back in the portal again. He's back in the portal again.
Yeah.
And there it goes again. You go in the portal, you bounce in the portal. TBD, multiple portals. Jake Garcia. I mean, Knighton. It's amazing how many guys just, they can't stay at one team for whatever reason. And it's the old story. The grass is always greener.
Well, I think with those 3 players, I mean, Knighton obviously clearly is the most talented football player, but the other 2 just for injury reasons or whatnot just haven't been good enough. I mean, I don't think the other 2 are chasing money. They just haven't settled in. They're not good enough.
Do you remember we thought we had the deepest quarterback room in the country with those 2 guys? I mean, everybody was like, and they're calling for Jake to be the guy. I mean, back and forth, and it turned so fast that, we think we have something, and then, wow, how fast did it disappoint? That's why a guy like Carson Beck I'm excited about. He is, 25-3 or something at Georgia?
24-3.
He's a proven guy, so you can't complain about it. That's why I'm excited about that.
People are sleeping on him, man. We talked about it today, Brett.
I'm betting him to be the number 1 draft pick next year.
He was supposed to be a first-round pick before this past first-round pick. Because I remember hearing it over and over again.
I definitely think they're sleeping on him. I just hope he comes back healthy. Will he be healthy, Gio?
He'll be good by fall.
Gio's given the word.
He's already been throwing.
Okay, that's good. Georgia linebacker, Hassan. Welcome to the show, Hassan. Georgia linebacker you mentioned. Do you know who he's talking about?
I think he's talking about like the rumors surrounding like Raylan Wilson's really talented kid came out of the Panhandle area a couple of years back. Super fast for a linebacker too. He's like a missile. Again, those are just hypothetical things until that kid actually enters the portal. Nothing can really happen.
Exactly. Okay. Georgia, have you heard anything? Gio, have you heard anything about us losing one of our running backs?
You talking about the Jordan Lyle to Alabama rumor? I heard about that, but wasn't told that there's any legs to that though.
Oh boy. So no, I spoke to somebody that coached Fletcher and Lyle, and on a case, and he said Lyle was just something special. He just has all the talent. Not that Fletcher doesn't, but there's something special there. So they're trying to poach him from us. Is that basically it?
Yeah, there's a rumor that circulated out of somewhere, but there's really no legs to it.
All right, we're going to do everything we can to keep him.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Yes, obviously we gave up on another running back who I thought will be great, and
AJ Allen.
Yes,
AJ.
I like it too.
I don't think anybody ran as hard as him last year. I mean, Martinez turned out great in Fletcher, but when he got in the game, he was a game changer, a change of pace in the second half. So where'd he go? He went local, right?
FIU,
yes.
right?
FIU right now.
All right, so I'll be rooting for him. Gio, do you think Darrell Jackson will go to the portal, and would Miami take him back?
I've heard some things about that, but this is the time of the year where there's a lot of chatter about things. There's rumors that come out. If that were to happen, that if he decided he wanted to enter the portal, I think a very serious conversation would have to take place, even if Miami were to consider that, just because of the way how everything ended. Like he got a really big deal to come here and everything. It was back during the whole Life Wallet thing and whatnot. Ended up leaving after a year, was contemplating whether to stay or go to Florida State. He told Miami he was going to stay. He ended up going to Florida State, and just all the drama. Sometimes there's certain scenarios that play out, and then you even look back, you start to wonder and think, is it really worth going down that path again? It's like when you have like a really nasty breakup with someone, and they're saying like, oh no, let's get back together. But then you realize you're like, no, I wasn't really happy. Like I don't think that's for me.
Good analogy. People do get remarried again, but how many people have gone back to a team they've left? I have not. Do I know of any that have gone back? They leave and come back. They've joined another team. They're with us, one team, the next year with another team, and then they come back to the first team.
It's happened with a few guys. I would say the most high-profile guy in collegiate football that's happened with is Stetson Bennett. He actually left that Georgia program, I think it was like for a year or two, and then he came back. Or there was a quarterback at Clemson. I think his name was Chase Bryce. He was like a career backup guy, but he left Clemson after X amount of years, went to another school. I think he went to App State, and then he came back to Clemson. Sometimes it works out that way.
All right. That makes sense. So we'll see what happens on Jackson. Mondo, you got anything to add to that?
Sorry, I got distracted by one of the kids here going crazy, but they're going to sleep now. I'm sorry.
I saw your face. It was like storming back for the U says linebacker room will be our secondary room from last year. Insane. We aren't making changes despite whiffing on a linebacker behind the scenes. Any news on that from storming back the U at that point?
No,
I
think he's got a point that the high school recruiting needs to improve quite a bit in terms of the linebacker position. There's been some misses. Again, like I've said, they got to get an impact guy there to raise the floor of the room, someone that could seriously contribute, potentially start too. I think it's really thin. You know, you got your Wesley Basaint, who's still a bit up and down. Popo Aguirre, who's had some moments in spring. Cam Pruitt as well. Jalen Alderman, a veteran guy, but maybe not someone that you may want starting on this team. I would say, and then some couple young guys there that maybe not so ready yet to play. So I would say just in terms of depth wise, like that's probably the position most out of any right now on this team that seriously has to be worked on.
Wow.
Is Samson, Case is asking, welcome to the show, is Samson transferring?
From what I understood, no. I know Coach Mirabal has been on record saying that Samson has had a good spring. I've been told some things and seen some things in terms of like his development within the program. Maybe not where fans would hope, like that they would want him to be, considering how profile he was coming out of high school. But again, he's got Markel Bell in front of him and Francis Mauignon. And Markel Bell is being discussed as potentially a top 100, top 150 NFL draft prospect for this upcoming year. Francis being considered like a first rounder, potential top 10, top 15 type of pick with the year that they're expecting from him. But next year he'll have a big opportunity. I also think too that, you know, some people are really quick to say for some guys that, oh, they should go to the portal. Here's the thing. Samson hasn't played a lot in his career. He had an injury kind of like couple games into his freshman year. Last year he was a backup guy. He doesn't have like a lot of game tape. It's mostly practice tape at this point. He would not command a lot in terms of like NIL compensation if he were to get up and decide like, all right, you know, I'm just going to go hit the portal.
Like we mentioned before, it all takes is 1 year. So a guy can sit around at Miami. He gets his opportunity. What is he now, a junior? Or is he a redshirt?
He is a redshirt sophomore right now.
Okay, so he's got what, 3 more years. And then he could have 5 more years the way it's going nowadays. He's in college at 30. But the point is that all he needs is 1 good year to make the NFL. So why go anywhere else? If you're enjoying yourself, you're having a good time, you know, because him and Mauignon, or they were both what, they were 1-2 or 1-3, weren't they, coming in at the same time?
Yeah, so Francis was number 1 and Samson was number 3.
Yeah, so it's all it takes is 1 year. So, you know, why jump around to different teams if you're happy with Mirabel? You got it. Some guys don't really get good till a few years later. Sometimes in the NFL, they don't get good till the 5th year.
Yeah, that happens.
We're guys. We mature late sometimes. It just happens. I'm still working on it. Okay. Low-key, good to great kicker. Got the best market in college football. Dominic is commenting there.
Let's see here. Let's keep going through Abram Murray. Yeah, we already spoke about that with the kicker situation. This is from Canes Cat Heat 305. Are we able to show the kicker video? Hype us up about baseball. Mondo was hyping up about baseball earlier. Who's going to back up Poiser at safety in the box? So
excellent question.
That's a good question, actually, because right now, technically, it would be either Amari Wallace or Chris Ewald. Either one of those guys. Chris Ewald was mostly the second string guy, a true freshman. Actually, he's one of our few freshmen this year that could seriously get some playing time this year, whether it's some special teams, gets some rotation snaps here or there. Him, Dante Simpson, Brock Schott. I think if Gerard Pringle continues on the trajectory, like after what he showed in the spring game, he could find some snaps this year too. Malachi Toney, obviously, more than anyone. Josh Moore and Dalen Upshaw are making their cases too for some playing time at some point. But in terms of that safety, yeah, basically that. Sigmund says here, how many defensive tackles does Miami take in the portal? I just expect one, a veteran guy. And then we got a comment here. Our boy Blue knows his stuff. Yes, Larry Bluestein has been around this for a very, very, very long time. Hassan shares here. Gio, how's Miami's chances with Tristan Keys? That is the number 1 wide receiver in the nation out of the state of Mississippi. Committed to LSU, visited for the spring game. I mentioned before, even that visit came to light that Miami was still very much in that picture. Even after his LSU commitment, I told people that he was going to still continue to go through the process. Guys of that stature, even if they say, like, if they come out on social media and say, I'm going to shut down my recruitment, That doesn't necessarily happen because let's say if the team they're committed to doesn't have a really good season or whatnot, they start opening the doors to other conversations. So I've seen it happen over and over again many times. But Miami is in the picture, but that's more of like a long game thing though, because he's going to go through his visit process, possibly take some game day visits as well. But Miami's going to keep churning away there, basically. Let's see. Matthew Owen here shares Brett is a star.
Look at that.
Brett, you are a star.
Look at it.
Brett's got family members writing in questions tonight. Huh?
There you go.
Roger Allen here, Perry Thompson, maybe. Robert Bryson. What about the chatter that Nico and teammates dogged the playoff game? Not so much teammates. Just here's my thing. So obviously that report coming out about Nico, basically that he was asking for more before the playoff game against Ohio State. I mean, it's pretty terrible what happened in that game. He threw for 42% like completion rate. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, but again, they still took the loss and he did not throw the ball very well at all. So, yeah. Jake Wynn mentions here, Henry Parrish. Henry Parrish already, he finished up his eligibility at Ole Miss. Hassan and Jake Wynn both share. There's also a rumor about Oklahoma defensive tackle David Stone. Yeah, I know he's within their 2 deep at Oklahoma. I'm sure everyone here, at least if you follow recruiting very closely for the Miami Hurricanes for the football program, he was actually going to pick Miami. He ended up changing his mind at the very last moment. Even
that was wild.
His family's surprised looking at him like, wait a minute, what?
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
They all expected Miami, but I haven't heard anything substantial about him entering the portal, aside from like a cryptic social media post from the day he made his high school decision during an IMG Academy game. So there hasn't really been any legs there to that. Let's see here. Jake Wynn shares Samson can start in 26 and 27. Yeah, look. Perfect. Again, it's the possibility that Francis moves on after this year. It's his money year. Markel Bell technically could come back one more year with the new JUCO rule, but again, we'll see. Let's see here. Fins Talk Sports Network, they shared 2,100 people viewing on all platforms. Smash that like and subscribe button here on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Yes, the FTSN.
2,100 people for 9:30 at night and starting late. That's unbelievable. Mondo, thank you very much for being.
I think 100 of those people came to see me. 2,000 are seeing UNG.
Mondo, you are a star. All you have to do is post or tweet or whatever it's called, and you go 3, 2, 1 or whatever it is. Go ahead. So
Jason shared what size is Mondo's shirt?
What do you think? Medium, baby. Come on, man. As I'm flexing my bicep as we speak.
Is it a medium or a marge?
If you go to CanesWear, you'll never see a medium on the shelves because I got them all. He's got them all.
Yeah. He is bursting out of that shirt. You're gonna have a new.
I've been trying to get into game shape. You
are.
Let's see here. Canes Cats Heat 305 shares. Are we covering the high school baseball scene down here? There's not a lot of coverage on the high school baseball scene. At least I would like to see that get better. I would like to get involved in it too. I know from like an analytical perspective, like it doesn't draw like the views like football recruiting and stuff like that. I would like to see that grow though. Like you see all the football and basketball rankings.
It used to be covered a lot more, especially obviously when, back when we used to read the Herald and stuff like that, but you don't see it that much anymore. But I did want to touch upon real quick about the baseball season. Yeah, they've won 3 in a row. They've got maybe like 4 or 5 series left before the conference tournament. And for the staff and the recruiting, it's the end of their second season, and it's been, as we know, it's been a roller coaster. it's
Very
been
up and
more down than up. It's just been all over the board. And now they're saying that that kid has been playing well. Derek Williams might be out for the season. We don't know yet. But it's been murky at best at times. We'll see what happens going here through the end of the season, but it's a big finish to the year because this is the end of the year 2 of that regime, and it's been a lot of helter-skelter at times. It's been not what a lot of people expected, to be honest with you.
I hope, you know what, no matter what happens, I hope they end up, obviously, as a Canes fan, on a high note. That would be the best thing. And even if they do part ways, because you can hang your head high and say, hey, we finished better than we started, and that's key. And that's key. You got to finish strong. So nobody wants to see, long time, Canes, go down with the team or anything like that. I hated when Mark Rick, lost, and, I'm glad he stepped down when he did. He obviously wasn't, but here's a guy that gave everything to the program and really helped, I think, turn us around with that practice facility, the indoor practice facility and all. I mean, he's really the reason it got done. And, and he's always, so what other questions we got there, Gio? Any others?
Yeah, just a couple left. Jake Wynn shares here. My Henry Parrish comment was about a player that transferred back to a school they transferred from. Ole Miss. Yes, he's correct.
Yes, good point.
Parrish started his career at Ole Miss.
We didn't know where he was going with that, but
that's a rarity. That's a rarity that kid goes.
It was mainly he was following his coach, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
His position coach.
Mm-hmm. Everyone show up and support this week, absolutely. And of course, Jason did say you're looking buff, my guy. I know he's talking about Mondo there because he is Mr. Buff. That may be his new nickname.
He's a huge fan. He actually lives out in Colorado. He came down to several games.
Colorado
Cane. Big fan.
Absolutely, brings the family down. The regular CanesWear, we love it. With Greg Smith returning to Florida, maybe Thornton enters the portal. Is that possible? And who is Thornton?
Thornton is Bryce Thornton from Florida. The feedback that I got on that this afternoon is that both guys are expected to return to Florida. Not only just Greg Smith, Bryce Thornton as well.
All right. So
there was some negotiation going on back and forth between both parties. I know Miami had interest in Greg Smith. I know for sure that if Bryce Thornton had entered the portal, Miami would have been all over that as well.
Did the first day of the portal surprise you with any players that maybe that announced? Or was it lackluster?
I wouldn't say really any too much big surprises per se. No, not really. I guess for at least for fans like fans that are watching, whatever, I'm sure the shocking thing, at least on Miami's side of the railroad tracks here, is like the Zaquan Patterson thing, because fans don't know exactly those scenarios that are going on behind closed doors. But I would say that, like, in terms of surprise. But in terms of like the wow factor, I don't think that many big guys have entered yet. But I've seen how sometimes these things play out. Like, it'll start off really slow, and then we're going to have a day where just a ton of big names enter that portal. I think it's very possible. Because of the settlement that's also going on with the NCAA and everything, with the revenue share and everything that's coming up. Guys are trying to get in for like one really last big payday before potentially some regulation comes in.
Good point. You think a lot of players say, you know what, I'm not going on the first day. I'm going to see who goes in. And then they say, wait, not that many guys came in. Now I'm going. And it's going to lead to a complete chaos. Everybody's coming in because they say, you know what, not that many players went. I thought more players would go, because even though we say 10,200 people in the portal, how many were in the portal before today, I should say.
Yeah, well, today, over the last couple of days, because here's what happens. So guys already start submitting their paperwork, but it's not officially open until Wednesday, which was today at midnight. So what happens is there's a little bit of a backlog. It's usually a 48-hour process to see names pop up in the portal. So, for example, you see a Nike Har today or a Elias Rudolph. Those guys likely submitted their paperwork Monday, so they ended up in the portal by Wednesday. So I think in the next day or two, we could possibly see some bigger names hop in. I also can agree with you what you said, actually, that some guys may evaluate the market, see what other players are out there, and they may go test it themselves from some other schools. I know that goes into play. Agents monitor that as well, and that's kind of how it sets the market value too.
With the players we lost today, how many positions are open that we can still take?
What do you mean, like that they need to fill?
How many positions can they fill? Obviously, we can't fill 100 positions. So
yeah, no, but look, so 1 to 2 wide receivers. Obviously, your main focus being an outside receiver. I know they've had interest in potentially a depth piece or two on the offensive line. They couldn't make that happen in the winter. Mm-hmm. Maybe they can make it happen in spring. We'll see. Defensive tackle for sure. I've said this before. This is a hot take, but I know, like, just from the perspective of how they value certain positions in college football, especially like the top teams. You have the quarterbacks and the offensive line and pass rushers are right in there too. Like, they're all in that top tier. Pass rushers are a premium. Like, if a major big time guy for some reason whatsoever wanted to hop in there, yeah, I'm sure Miami would express some type of interest, regardless of how deep they are right now. But again, the chances of that happening, you really don't know. It's possible no one does. No superstar pass rusher ends up in there. So impact linebacker, impact safety, and you need a depth safety as well. So that, and then if someone leaves your quarterback room, you got to get a quarterback too.
Absolutely. So Mondo, what do you want to see us go after?
After hearing Gio a little while ago, linebacker. I mean, that sounds like it needs even the guys that have been here a couple of seasons have been question marks. So definitely want to go after that position. Absolutely.
Is it possible we'll get 2 or 3 linebackers?
I don't think that far right now.
Okay, so
it's mainly the focus is for an impact linebacker.
Impact linebacker. Okay, Jason. Yes, sir. Trying to get down at Notre Dame. Hopefully, you can get here for that game. I mean, that's going to be an amazing game, an amazing atmosphere. If it's anything like the last atmosphere, and if it's anything like the last time we played them in 2017, the score, it's going to be awesome. That game is going to set the tone for the season. Obviously, you can, we win that game, we're not guaranteed we're going all the way. We lose that game, we're not guaranteed we're going to lose any game, more games, or all the games, but that game means a lot.
Well, speaking of quarterback, Notre Dame's got quarterback question marks, so we'll see right off the bat what they got.
I thought the Tennessee guy need to make a look at Notre Dame. I had mentioned that in the text. I mean, could they? It's you figure they're going to try to pick up somebody. Hassan, thank you so much. I says, by the way, you guys do an awesome job. Thank you very much, Hassan, and we appreciate all of the questions and all the comments. Jake, last second question or comment. CJ Carr is going to be a good one.
That's the likely projected Notre Dame quarterback. I saw him play when he was in high school. He played for Cali Power 7-on-7 team.
Is that the freshman? Is it the freshman?
He's a red shirt freshman, if I recall. He was on the same 7-on-7 team with a guy that Hurricane fans remember very much from recruiting last year, DJ Pickett.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read some good things about him as well, but you also got to figure, opener, night game, standalone game, Labor Day weekend at Miami. He's going to have his hands, cut off. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be quite the crowd. That game, everybody, it's going to be quite the crowd. We want to make sure that is 99% Miami. Lloyd Carr's grandson. There you go. Thank you, Jake. I didn't know that. Guys, you got any final comments? Do we have a winner today of the do we have a winner of the contest today, or the comment contest, or just someone participation? Remember, if you have not got your gift card and you won, please go ahead and send any of us a message to go ahead and get that set up. Gio, do we pick a winner?
Yeah, I think I have someone in mind.
All right, drum roll, please.
Canes Cats Heat 305. I always see him in here, always supporting. It's big Miami Hurricanes baseball fan too. Known him for many years now. I think he should be the winner tonight.
Awesome,
Nice.
awesome. He wasn't the winner last week, was he?
No.
Okay, yeah. It's a great
This guy's
name.
he's piling up the gift cards. This guy.
So reach out to Gio since you guys are tight, and let us so we can get you that gift card. Next week we're going to talk about the draft a little bit. We're going to talk about the portal. We're going to talk about the draft. We are going to have a CanesWear contest probably on X for. It's going to be something big. Right now, because there's so many Canes, we're going to do something. The person who can name the most Canes in order drafted is going to win probably $100 gift card or something like that.
Sweet.
If more than one do it, then we'll have to figure it out. But you're going to have to
Can
name.
I compete too?
Of course you can, Gio.
Or do I have unfair advantage?
Mondo, this isn't one of these things that if you're employed or just hanging out on a CanesWear set that you don't get to play. Everybody gets to play. We're gonna probably have a Cane one and a Dolphin one running as well to see who thinks the Dolphin draft picks. If anyone can pick the first three, that'll be amazing. Because if anyone can pick one, it'll be amazing. The way Greer drafts.
I'm going to win some money right now. You know how many Canes players or Dolphins are going to draft? 0. Show me the money.
Exactly.
Come on, let's go.
Exactly.
They never draft Hurricanes. It makes no sense.
Mondo, well, we drafted a few. We just drafted Jalen Phillips.
I know.
We drafted Lamar Miller. We drafted
Lamar
Lamar Miller. We drafted Vernon Carey. We drafted. There's been several. We drafted Jason Taylor. Isn't he a Hurricane?
Well, now he is.
No, he
Exactly.
is.
So we got the winner. We're going to do some CanesWear contests. So make sure you're following. Make sure you're following all the guys. Mondo, where do they follow you?
It would be at Lakers Canes 305.
Lakers Canes 305, and the Lakers are in the playoffs. Congratulations, Mondo. Gio, where do they find you? Where don't they find you? No, where do they find you, Gio?
Everyone can find
Everywhere.
me at Gio Million on X or Instagram. Got a weekly show that I always do with Amon Richards. It's called Who Wants Smoke. It's been doing very well. A lot of people love it. Great feedback. Everyone really loves it. Actually, I've been getting a ton of great feedback. Not trying to boast, but
well, that's all. Well, you do a great job. Amon does a great job. Remember, 50 catches and 23 interceptions or 23 touchdowns. Remember
You're not going to forget that. You're not going to forget that.
You can catch him all over. He's on Comic with Canes today. He's on
Canes. Also make some appearances on WQAM. Locked on Canes. I make some appearances on there as well. So I'm around.
Donald's a great guy. Dono
was a great guy. We got to have him on the show. So if you want to be a guest on the show, please let us know. We'll see if we can get you in for even 5 minutes or so, 5 minutes of fame. So don't be shy. If you guys ever want to get on the show, let us know. Remember this program, I probably should tell them now after 3 hours. It is sponsored by CanesWear, CanesWear.com or CanesWear in Davie. The Canes are obviously, we've got the new throwback Sean Taylor jersey, which is flying off the shelves. We got the Ed Reed jersey, which is flying off the shelves. We got the great starter jackets. We got the Cam Ward jerseys. And last time I checked, he's going to be the number one pick in the draft for Tennessee. We've got Cam Ward. We've got Xavier Restrepo. We got Mark Fletcher jerseys. We're going to have plenty more jerseys for players as well. A lot of exciting. If you're a Florida Panther fan, we've got tons of. Thank you, Jason. Best store ever. We appreciate that. We've got tons of Florida Panthers items. So if you're Panthers, they are the reigning champions in the Stanley Cup. So we're hoping that rubs off on the rest of the South Florida teams. We do have all the local teams. If you're a Messi fan, we've got plenty of Messi stuff as well. So CanesWear, the spot, South Florida fan shop. Come and see Jeff and the team there. It's always exciting team plates. You can talk sports and enjoy yourself. And remember CanesWear. Gio, it's not just a store; it's a fan experience. Okay, and that's key.
A lifestyle. 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida.
Absolutely. So, guys, it's our 15th anniversary. Thank you for making this happen. Appreciate all the new people. I know Freddie was out there watching. A bunch of new people watching the show. thank you very much for joining us. If you have questions or comments in advance, let us know before. If you can't make the show and you want to ask a question in advance, you can do that as well. That way, if you can't make it, you can see it later on the replay and get your own personal question answered. We're going to possibly doing a new props podcast soon with football, baseball, basketball props, golf props. So stay tuned for that as well. I want to thank Bobby at the FTSN Network. Make sure you subscribe and like. Any last comments, Mondo?
No, once again, always great being on with you guys, and thanks to everybody watching, and appreciate it. Go Canes, baby.
Thank you. And thank you for modeling that shirt so well, Mondo. Thank you. You got it.
Same time next week. There you go.
Same time next week. Gio, any final comments?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right. Great show, guys. You guys are unbelievable. This could be one of the best shows ever. So thank you very much to everybody. We appreciate it. And we're out. Go Canes.
Go
Go
Canes,
Canes.
baby.